What up, fam? It's your boy DTLF back with another episode of Around the League with yours truly, man. Very excited for this episode. We're going to talking about a couple of teams, mainly the Lakers. You guys know what's up after yesterday's victory. Everybody's still riding high. Extremely happy, proud of this team and the way they've turned it around. So we're going to get in depth on that and what has been impressive so far. Also, got to talk about something that happened today, man. I think it was very interesting here, and that's the Clippers and the Kings went at it today, and they lost by a lot. I'm talking the Clippers lost by a lot, and there was a chant that happened. There was a chant that happened. Um, like, listen, I don't understand the chant because I'm not a Kings fan, but light the beams. That was the chats. Light the beams, which I guess is something Sacramento Kings fans say when they're at home and they're whooping a team or something. They light the beam. I don't know what that means. Again, I know I remember the cowbells in Sacramento, but however, bottom line is they were here in Staples Center, the home of the Lakers. So it's supposedly supposed to be a Clipper home game, and they were chanting "light the beam." So I thought that was hilarious, man. And it's interesting because they say they run LA, but the Sacramento Kings apparently have more fans in them. So, what do you guys think of that? Did you guys see that clip? And if so, I thought it was hilarious. As a matter of fact, let me share it with you guys really quick. Here we go. Here we have the light the beam chance coming up right here. Hold up. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it there. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it there. There's a video circulating uh, on Twitter. If you guys definitely check it out. I guess I clicked on the wrong one. But yeah, it's hilarious because again, they're at Staples Center, and and I thought it was interesting. So look it up, guys. If you guys have a chance, it's a hilarious video. I apologize if you guys couldn't hear it. I don't know what's going on with the audio here, but as long as you guys can hear me, we are good. All right. So, Anthony Davis has been on a crazy, and I mean crazy hot streak. I'm talking out of this world. AD's playing like the best player in the world right now, and for some reason the NBA doesn't see it fit for him to be Player of the Week. Now check this out. This last 8 game streak, Anthony Davis is absolutely marking. And matter of fact, the last 3 games, right? Only there's a list in players in NBA history that put up 25-12 on 50% shooting in 8 consecutive games, and that list only has 3 players in it. Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Anthony Davis is the first to do it in 50 years. So this man is having an MVP caliber season, unlike the likes of we haven't seen in a very long time. And for some reason, the NBA doesn't see it fit for him to win Player of the Week. Right? He should be Player of the Month, if I'm being quite frank. Right? He really should. It's interesting how that hasn't happened. Matter of fact, he's led the Lakers in the last 10 games to a 7-3 record. We now have an offensive rating the last 10 games of 117.9, which is best for 5th in the league. A defensive rating of 111.1, which is 9th in the league, and a net rating of 6.8, which is 5th in the league. By the way, they're 10th in 3-point percentage. The last 10 games at 37.2. So there you go. Right? Defense leading to offense. And then they're 6th in points in the paint. All right. So they are killing it. AD's numbers tell some of the story as per Mike Trudell. 31.9 points per game in the last 10. 61.4% from the field. 85% from the free throw line. 15.2 rebounds. 2.9 blocks. And 1.4 steals. And yet the league doesn't see fit to make this guy not even Player of the Week. Better be Player of the Month. I'm telling you guys, man. I'm throwing a fit. I don't know why we don't get our flowers, guys. They were quick to jump on Anthony Davis when he was getting injured, but now that he deserves his flowers, I guess they don't want to backtrack, right? Which is horrible, man. No player dominating to this degree deserves to be treated that way. And talking about breaking records, man, we got to congratulate LeBron James on passing Magic Johnson yesterday for 6th all-time in the career assist list. That is a very special achievement he acquired yesterday. It was his assist number 10,142nd, taking over Johnson's perch as number 6 on the all-time list. The only player ahead of LeBron James so far are Mark Jackson, Hall of Fame point guard Steve Nash. Who else? Point guard that's close to LeBron James, Chris Paul. Dallas Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd, and the Utah Jazz great John Stockton. So I do believe he will break all those records. So that's really, really special, man. And by the way, the great Magic Johnson also congratulated him. So you old heads better get on the same page as us, man. Because look, listen. And I quote, Magic Johnson tweeted out, "Congratulations to one of the best ever to lace them up. LeBron James for passing me to become 6th all-time on the NBA career assist list." He said, "The effect you've had on the game of basketball will last for generations to come." So we better appreciate greatness while it's here, because I've seen a lot of LeBron hate, especially when he struggles. And people will be like, "Dan, I thought you were a Kobe Bryant fan." Yes, I am. That's my GOAT and always will be. Doesn't mean I can't appreciate greatness, man. You got to appreciate greatness while it's here, and we got to. We're blessed. We're blessed to have this type of talent, and also blessed that LeBron James is breaking records here in our very own backyard in Staples Center. So shout out to King James for breaking that record. Major props, and I can't wait to see him break Kareem's and so many more records moving forward. Hey, what's up, Tara? How y'all doing? Good to see y'all. I'm still extremely excited for the way the Lakers have been playing. Yesterday was just phenomenal. Hopefully everybody was celebrating. I know my neighbors are. They're throwing a party, by the way. But, man, he said, "Dan, be realistic. Our win record ain't good." Harry, be realistic. It's an 82-game win season. So you got to be realistic, man. And, by the way, I'm not worried about our overall season record. If we keep playing like this, we'll eventually be a pretty good team. We're becoming that. We're turning the corner, and I think the last win was crucial for us moving forward. But yeah, like I said, the last 10 games have been phenomenal. For those of you just tuning in, last 10 games we're 7-3. All right, after starting 10-2. Offensive rating 5th in the league, 117.9. Defensive rating 9th in the league. We fell off a little bit there, but still top 10. Really good. All right, so the Lakers improving. We're excited about it. Very, very, thankful for the way Anthony Davis has helped carry this team, and then LeBron James is coming along nicely. And Russ, again, the unsung story of Russell Westbrook, even making a lot of Laker fans, think maybe we shouldn't trade Russ. What do you guys think, though? Would you guys still make a trade for Russ for the right pieces? That is the question so far. By the way, this is around the league, so I do want to talk about other teams as well. And the Western Conference standings are very intriguing to me, because the Suns are first place, and we're about to face them in a couple of days, so that'll be interesting. The Nuggets are in second place, so no surprise there. Pelicans have been a shocker out west. They're 14-8. So quickly, those young guns are starting to come along for the Pellies. The Grizzlies 13-9. Kings 12-9 in fifth place. That's a huge surprise for me. Like, I figured the Kings would be better, but my goodness, they're currently in fifth place in the West. By the way, the Jazz have cooled down just like we predicted, 14-11 after starting off in first place. So the West is wide open still for the Lakers at 14-11. And the Lakers only have 12 losses. So if we string together some wins, we will, leapfrog a couple of teams out west. He said, DTLF, do you still trade Russ for either or both Turner or Hield? If that's the trade that's available, yes. As much as I love Russ, Turner and Hield are very promising moving forward. Although I'll say it's going to hurt me to, disturb the team chemistry a little bit, because they finally have it rolling. So I also wouldn't be mad if they hold on to him and just add by trading Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, and first-round picks and stuff like that. He said, keep Russ. He said, yes, still trade Russ. So Laker Nation so far is split. Some still want to trade him and some don't. So that is huge, because to start the season, we all wanted to trade him, myself included. But I really love the fact that he's come along nicely. So I'd be okay either way. But if the trade comes along, then it has to be the right one. Dan, Russ makes our bench really strong right now. I do agree with that. But remember, if we make a trade, our bench could still be blasted. Like, imagine Buddy Hield and or Miles Turner coming off the bench. That could still really help. Big time. Saludos from Guatemala City. What's up, Vic? Shout out to Guatemala, brother. Tyra says, rather have the Bulls deal. Okay. I like the Bulls deal. I really do. I really like obviously, Vucevic is one of my favorites since he was in Orlando. I wanted him on the Lakers since then. And then we all know that Compton product, man. We know DeMar DeRozan was phenomenal last year. Question, will he fit with the Lakers starting lineup, or is he a super six man just like Russ? Because he is a mid-range killer, but not really a three-point shooter. And that's one of the problems we had with Russ, right? He couldn't space the floor. What up, Tasia? She said she made it. That's right. Welcome. Welcome. He said, but honestly, if he continues to play uh, of his, he said, I wouldn't mind him on the team to end the year. Exactly. The biggest win of all would be if he allows us to compete and doesn't make boneheaded plays down the stretch, then you can hold on to him and you don't have to give up a lot of assets just to offload him. That's the best part, man. That is the best part. But I still would trade those assets to get other pieces. I really would. Because I still feel like the Lakers are one trade away, whether that's involving Russ or involving other role players and draft picks to be determined. But they have to make the right deal because you don't want to mess with good team chemistry. Again, the West is wide open, guys. It's Suns first place, Nuggets second place, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eight. They're all separated by a couple of games only, right? And then the Clippers, they just got whooped today, and their star players are very shaky. So they're probably going to slide down in the standings, and that's another team we can leapfrog. So I look forward to it. He said, Brian and Gabriel do what Turner can do, bro. I love Thomas Bryant. I think he's been phenomenal. Gabriel as well. But if you can add somebody like Miles Turner, it's a different level, man. It is a different level. I'll tell you because I've watched Miles Turner play his whole career, and I think he's undervalued in this league, to be honest with you. He's like the rich version of Thomas Bryant. And I love Thomas Bryant. I love him. He's one of my favorite acquisitions. Some people didn't understand why him and Lonnie Walker were up there, but now you guys see how great he's been for us. And he's just an energizer bunny. He just keeps going and going and going. So, but Miles Turner, for me, would bring stability to that front line because sometimes we go small and we get exploited a bit, So appreciate your coffee. He said, what up, bro? Just got here. What did I miss? Well, we talked about a couple things. We talked about the Lakers standings on the offensive and defensive end. So if you want to watch that, please do rewind this video. Smack that like while you're at it. And then we also talked about LeBron passing Magic Johnson yesterday, and Anthony Davis. Phenomenal numbers have been out of this world. So we talked about all of that. There's a couple things here that are very intriguing, right? In the Eastern Conference, obviously the Celtics and the Bucks are on top. We beat one of those top two teams, right? And like I said, the West is wide open between fourth and 11th place. There's only 4-game difference. So you can literally go from 12th spot all the way up to fourth if we continue this win streak. I mean, 7 out of 10 games is really good. If we get another 7 out of the next 10, we're going to be on top of the West. We're going to be a top 5 team in the West. So that's really good. Right. And mind you, some of those teams are going to slip just like the Jazz have. He said, DTLF with the Jazz sliding, what would it take to acquire Lauri Markkanen? He's been so phenomenal. I doubt they trade him at this point, man. He has been out of this world, man. Lauri Markkanen is somebody who I think they're going to hold on to for a very long time, my friend. I really do, to be honest, if I'm being quite frank. Right. At least I would if I was them. I mean, why trade him unless they want to, they want to continue to stock up draft picks. I mean, then that would make sense, right? He said, Laker Nation ain't patient with our guys. All you Westbrook haters owe him apologies. There's no Westbrook haters here, man. We hated the attitude and we hated the poor play, and we were justified in that. But now that he's playing better, of course he's going to get embraced. Just like I told you guys when he was struggling. I said, if he turns it around and buys into coming off the bench, I promise you Laker Nation will love him. So, look, even Russ knows that Laker fans are educated, and even he's catering to the fans. So don't nobody need to apologize to nobody. This is a very soft era where everybody gets offended. I'll say this. He's played so phenomenal, though, that he does deserve all the praise he's getting, right? Oh, this is all we ever wanted. This is all we ever asked for. It took over a year to get it, but rather late than never. I'll say that. He said, hey, Dan, have you been keeping up with the World Cup? I have here and there. I haven't had too much time. I did wake up today. I saw Team USA lose, unfortunately. And then I saw part of the Argentina game, but I really dislike Argentina. So I was disappointed that, Australia couldn't surprise them. But that next, this round is must-watch TV for sure. Elimination round is always must-watch. He said, Freeman, 100%. I was stating the impossible unlikely. He said, Lowry's having a career year in Utah. Yeah, if I'm Utah, I mean, why would you trade him, right? He's out of this world. Not only did they win that trade, they whooped that trade, right? Matter of fact, they're in a better – listen, the interesting thing is that the Timberwolves gave up all of that, just to be below the Utah Jazz, who are currently 14-11, and the Timberwolves are 11-12. So they lost that trade so far. But at the end of the day, you can never tell who's winning really a trade till sometimes a year in or 2 years in, etc. Right? Let's see who gets further. Jose says, DTLF, who's your dark horse from the East and the West? Great question, man. I love these type of questions. In the West, my dark horse is obviously the Lakers. If they get a trade in there, they can go really far, right? I think they're a trade away. In the East, my dark horse for the East is probably Brooklyn. I still think with all that, scoring power they have, if they get the defense right, and then, obviously they fired Steve Nash. So, they're going to be a little bit better. They still got Kyrie and KD last I checked, so watch out for Brooklyn. And they're a little more balanced than they were last year. So let's see. The Hawks are intriguing as well. I like the Hawks, but they're talking about trading John Collins. Why? I have no clue. He complements Trae Young perfectly off of that screen and roll. The Pacers have really shocked the world, but they got some good young rookies. Obviously, Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, they're having a solid year. The East is also kind of wide open outside of the Celtics and Bucks and Cavs. Everybody else can kind of alternate there in the standings. Hey, what's up, Reg Dog? He said a few pieces away from going back to the finals. I feel you. I've been saying that since the offseason, man. To become a legit contender, we need to just solidify a couple of things. But look, listen, it is very promising to see that the Lakers have become a top 10 team in three-point shooting percentage by default, because now we're playing defense and scoring in transition, and we're moving the rock and finding the hot hand. And on top of that, we're not forcing as many threes. We started the year shooting over 40 per game. Now it's closer to 30. So that has all improved our percentages and helped us win. He said Westbrook is playing like Lamar Odom. And remember, Craig, I said this a year ago. I said I really could see him become if he buys in like the Lamar Odom role, he would be phenomenal. And some people believed it, some didn't. But yeah, Russell Westbrook has been out of this world, and he looking like the sixth man of the year. Give it to the man. If he continues this, no doubt, there's nobody making a bigger impact than him off the bench. So, but obviously it's still early in the season, and we need that to continue, because at times, I'll say this, he does get a little out of control, even off the bench. But like I said, it doesn't hurt as much unless it's at the end of games. But outside of that, it doesn't hurt as much, because now he can play free, and he's giving you some good plays, some bad plays. Bench players do that all the time. Starters have a smaller margin for error, because you got to get out to a quick start and you got to finish the game strong. And that's the starting lineup's job, 9 times out of 10. But I love the production he has done. Everything has been phenomenal on his part, and I hope it continues. I really do. It needs to continue. It will continue. Scratch that. It will continue. I believe it, man. I believe it. And the best part is his attitude. He's embracing the culture, the winning culture of Los Angeles, and he's waving back to the crowd. He's doing all that good stuff now. When I remember last year, he got booed so much that even when he posterized Rudy Gobert, he was cursing out the crowd. He was saying, F out of here. Why? Because they weren't embracing him on the regular. But now he gets it, man. And I'm glad. I'm glad he gets it, because it would have been horrible if he came to LA and he would have left with a bad taste in his mouth. Now, if he gets traded, at least he'll understand what the fan base is all about. He knows we don't bullshit. Andre Drummond found out the hard way. Dwight Howard found out the hard way. Like, fans will let you hear it, especially when they think you're half-assing it or you're not playing intelligent basketball. And there's beauty in that. There's a passion. I see eye to eye with New York Knicks fans. They do the same thing. I see eye to eye with certain fan bases that stay loyal, but they also stay really strict on their teams, because they love them and they want them to do good. Hey, shout out to my boy Randall. Thanks for super chat. Bro said, light the beam. For those of you that didn't watch the video earlier, I was going to play a video, but it malfunctioned a little bit here. Light the beam is something that Kings fans say in their home arena. I think when they're whooping teams. I don't watch King games, so I wouldn't know. But based off of what I've seen on Twitter, and the chants broke out at Staples Center, and the home of your Los Angeles Lakers, during a Clipper game, Kings fans overtook the arena and said, light the beam, which is something that will never happen to the Lakers. Nobody's taking over the arena at our house when we play, right? Bottom line. But it was beautiful to watch, because there's even more Kings fans in LA than there is Clipper fans. So again, all the Clipper fans you see on Twitter and online, they're all bots and fake accounts. There's probably one dude creating them all. That's what they usually do. He said, Dan, we're going as far as AD staying injury-free. I agree. But not just AD. LeBron got to stay injury-free as well. He's questionable for tomorrow's game with the rolled ankle, man. I don't understand why Now, it may just be a freak accident. Obviously, Chris Middleton's not a dirty player, but I don't get why, players always they fall on LeBron's ankles at all times. It's like, bruh, are they that clumsy? Like, it pisses me off. He said the Kings are fun to watch. They are, man. They really have me surprised where they are in the standings. They're currently fifth in the West with 12-9. But you knew that eventually, if they got somebody other than Luke Walton, it'll bring out their potential. I told them when they acquired Luke, I was like, oof, those young players are about to regress, just like when Luke was in LA and he had all that young talent, didn't know what to do with it. So he's not an NBA level coach, all right? He is his daddy's son, and he was blessed with that job, with two job opportunities, for the Lakers and the Kings. But those job opportunities, belong to coaches with actual experience and have actually put in the work. So I'm glad he's no longer coaching those teams because they suffered a lot. I mean, Marvin Bagley really, really suffered a lot playing under Luke Walton. So did De'Aaron Fox. His numbers fell off the years that Luke was there. And now look what they're doing, right? Do you think the Celtics have enough to compete with the Bucks? Because we Lakers do. They do have enough to compete, man. The Celtics are really nice. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown continue to grow in their roles, and they're starting to get used to playing with each other, which is kind of scary. Before, they were kind of stat hunting, right? Which is a modern theme in the NBA today. But they're 18-5, first place in the East for a reason. So they definitely have enough to compete. That Eastern Conference, though, is always very entertaining because I think the Cavs have been phenomenal at 15-8. And we faced them in a couple of days, right? So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. And not to mention it's on the road. So LeBron going back to Cleveland, he's about to go off. He said, we need to do the Pacer deal. We need to preserve AD. If he got injured again, we are done. He said, having Turner would lessen AD's burden. It's an 82-game season. You know what, brother? I absolutely agree. 110%. That's another aspect of that trade that I'm for, right? Because if Miles Turner is available, he can definitely spell some minutes for Anthony Davis. Whether he starts or comes off the bench, it doesn't matter. And if AD needs to take days off, you got Miles Turner. You can still feed another beast, right? Even though he's not a primary scorer type like AD is. But the defense, the rebounding, and all the other stuff, the fundamentals will be there. Dan, should the Lakers trade for Gary Trent Jr.? Depends what the asking price is. Right now, we don't need more guards. We need wing depth, and we need maybe one more backup big. But yeah, we do not need more guards unless the price is right. You could always take a flyer on him. If we, flip Kendrick Nunn and Patrick Beverley for him, then I'm cool with it, right? I like Gary Trent Jr. I really do. Did you talk about the Wizards game? I have not. I'll save that tomorrow for pregame. By the way, the game tomorrow is at 3 p.m. Pacific time, so early game. I guess I'll be doing pregame around 2:15-ish. So I'll see you guys. I'll talk about it then, for sure. He said this has been the best Eastern Conference since the days of Michael Jordan. Surreal to see the team records over there are better. The league will always balance itself out. For the longest, the Western Conference has dominated, and it still does, right? It still does dominate, but last couple of years, we've seen champions come out of the East, right? We've seen champions come out of the East. So, but remember, the Bucks won it 2 years ago out of the East, and last year the West won it, right, with the Warriors. It's alternating. Hopefully this year the West wins it again with the Lakers. That'd be great, but we got a ways to go. He said, DTLF, we need an underrated shooter like Slava Medvedenko. That dude, man. Don't remind me about Slava. Dan, have you seen that Lakers Bulls trade? I have, and it's very intriguing. Some people are even saying throwing Caruso, but we got Austin Reeves, so I'm good with that. But if they throw him in, I'm not complaining. He said Lakers can just chill now. Let's see what pops up. They can chill to a degree because now they don't look as desperate, right? Now we're starting to play closer to 500 ball, and so teams cannot try to swindle us. If they want to trade, it has to be a fair deal. If not, the Lakers aren't going to move anything. Right? If anything, they might look to the buyout market for the right pieces. He said, Jose Slava Medvedenko, LOL, that's my guy. Dude is a legend, though. Much love to Slava. Of course, man, any Laker champion that becomes a legend instantly. He said, OG Anunoby is clutch. That dude is a nice two-way wing. He would be heaven sent. OG Anunoby would be amazing. I'd even give up a first-round pick for him included. I like him a lot. And then his name's OG. Imagine we have a player named OG playing for the West Coast Lakers, man. You know, Snoop Dogg's gonna buy a jersey, man. You know it. He said, "Yo, Dan, I think we should do the Pistons trade for Bagley and Bay. I like Sadiq Bay, by the way. I think he's very underrated. Also a two-way wing, more of a defensive guy, but he could also shoot and slash, right? Kind of like Trevor Ariza type role when he was in his prime and he came to the Lakers. I think he could be that for the Lakers. For Pat, none and a pick. I think I'd be on the edge for the pick. I don't think those two guys are worth like a full-blown first-round pick, but I'd gamble. I'd gamble on that trade. I think it's worth the gamble because if Bay hits and so does Bagley, now you got the size and you got the wing defensive depth. So that's not a bad trade suggestion right there. I agree with you, bro. He said Eric Gordon for none and Pat Bev and a top 6 protected. He's not Eric Gordon at this point of his career is not worth a first-round pick. I do Patrick Beverly and Kendrick Nunn for Eric Gordon, but that's it. Maybe a second-round pick. Not worth a first-round pick. He's too old, man. He's not making that same impact he used to back when he was younger. So, not giving up a first-round pick for Eric Gordon. Does he fit? Yeah, absolutely. But just because he fits doesn't mean you have to overpay for him, if you catch my drift, right? That's just how I feel about somebody like Eric Gordon. But I love the trade suggestions, guys. Keep them coming. They're phenomenal. You guys are great Twitter GMs, man. By the way, teams that have surprised me in the East, obviously, I'm shocked by the 76ers, how bad they started. 12-11. They only have one less loss than us, and we started horribly. He said Clipper fans have been quiet for a while, as they should be. Order is restored for now. Eventually, these bandwagon Clipper fans are going to come out of the woodworks. But look, where are all the analysts that had picked the Clippers to be the favorites, right? Light the beam. That's all I got to say. That's all I'm going to say every time Clipper fans show up now. I'm going to say light. Well, my man Randolph right here just messaged me. Light the beam. Absolutely. He said Bojan from the Pistons. Now that is definitely worth a first-round pick. If even though they didn't give a first-round pick to acquire him, I'm willing to do it because he fits the need and he's an 18-point per game scorer. He automatically starts. He plays good defense. He's that 3-and-D wing that we have been craving for such a long time. It's been a long time since we had a true 3-and-D wing. Bojan Bogdanovic is exactly that. He shoots lights out from beyond the arc. He could play solid defense. He's also very underrated with his basketball IQ. So, I would not mind that at all. He says Xavier Henry. You remember him, Dan? Oh, my goodness. Xavier Henry, I thought he was a star playing for Mike D'Antoni. And his poster dunks were out of this world. I loved him. Unfortunately, injuries ended his career. But yeah, any Laker OG fan remembers Xavier Henry playing for Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni had Kendall Marshall balling. So that's how you know Mike D'Antoni's system was phenomenal, right? Mike D'Antoni had Jeremy Lin looking like the second coming of James Harden. And Jeremy Lin was a good role player, but damn, what he did in New York was historic under Mike D'Antoni. That's how good Mike D'Antoni was. And remember, as great as Steve Nash's career was, and I'll never shit on his career, Steve Nash really hit his stride when he played under Mike D'Antoni's system. So we know that Mike D'Antoni is an offensive guru. And if you wanted to get paid in the NBA, you go to whatever team Mike D'Antoni is coaching for. Because I think even Nick Young had his career high for the Lakers that one season under Mike D'Antoni. So, man, he said, go get Miles Bridges. His talent would be scary on the Lakers. I'll tell you that. His talent would be really, really scary on the Lakers. I think people would we're already one of the top transition teams. Shout out to Lonnie Walker. Shout out to Austin Reeves, LeBron, AD, who all run the floor exceptionally well. But you add somebody like Miles Bridges to that, man, it's going to be showtime all over again. He said, hey, Dan, scouting these college players, what can we pick up with our picks? Oh, man. Look, I know Imani Bates has kind of fallen off a lot of the scouts' radars, right? Based off what type of prospect he was in high school to where he is now. But I still like Imani Bates, right? Especially if we get a late first-round pick, assuming, the Pelicans swap with us if they end up with a better record or whatever, vice versa. Regardless, we're going to get a mid to late first-round pick. Imani Bates would be, I think, a dope gamble for us. I mean, we're talking about somebody who's athletic, can shoot, attack, has good handles, and he's a project for sure. But I would like Imani Bates for sure. I've had my eye on him since he was in high school, right? He said, don't make a trade, the Lakers, because why would you mess that up? You know what? It's not about messing anything up. You got to try to keep the core together intact. But if the right trade comes along, like Vucevic Like my homegirl said, Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan is really hard to turn down, man. Really hard to turn. That almost puts you over the top. It might still require another shooter added to that, right? Via side trade or whatever, or pick up via buyout market. But something like that pops up, you gotta maybe take a flyer on that one. I mean, Vucevic up front with AD, talk about offensive terrorism right there, man. That'd be crazy. And then DeMar DeRozan, the Compton kid coming home to play for his hometown, mid-range killer, still 20 point per game score. Even though I love what Russell Westbrook is doing, if you can get a 2-for-1 type of deal, even if you bring one off the bench, you're getting a hell of a deal right there. Jonathan, appreciate you, bro. Thanks for super chat. He said, how about Scary Terry and Nunn and Pat for a second rounder? I don't know if the contracts match, but I'd do that in a heartbeat as well. I like him. But however, again, we don't need more guards, even though Scary Terry is an upgrade for sure. Right? He could even come in and start right away. But I would target some of these other players we're mentioning before Scary Terry. He said DeMar is a 30-point per game scorer. Not on this team. Not on this team. He's going to take the backseat to AD and LeBron. So he'll become a 20-point per game scorer, brother. DeRozan would not work. Well, who knows? If they bring him off the bench as a super six man and they let him run free just like Russ, it might work, bro. Plus, he's clutch. DeRozan is clutch, at least during the regular season. I can't say the same for the postseason, but during the regular season, bro has hit so many game winners. He's really clutch. He said, can we do Patrick Beverley for Caruso and Drummond and then a Nunn for Cam Reddish? I doubt they do that, man. If they trade Caruso, it's because they're trying to rebuild. Obviously, the Bulls haven't got off to the hottest start. That's why they're rumored to make trades and all this stuff, right? The Bulls are currently 9-13, but I think the next couple of weeks might determine who are the real buyers and who are the real sellers. By the end of December, you'll know. By January, February, that's when the trade rumors really start to heat up. So it'll be interesting. He said, hey, Dan, cutting the fat in the Lakers team, he said, which player we really don't need? That's a great question. Let's start with Patrick Beverley. This dude has not made any sort of an impact outside of maybe one game. He's a part-time defender, full-time non-offensive player. All right, he makes our offense stagnant, especially when he starts. So you get rid of him ASAP. I mean, the other players have done a phenomenal job, the other guards on the team. Kendrick Nunn is really expendable, right? Damian Jones is another player that hasn't made an impact. And dare I say it, because I love the kid. Obviously, he's Mexican, but Juan Toscano hasn't got much run either. So those are 4 names you could throw out there in the trade market, see what you can get in return. It all depends on what we get on return, though. What we get in return has to be somewhat of an upgrade. It doesn't have to be significant, but just enough where they make an impact, because those 4 players I mentioned have made 0 impact, slim to none. Or you can package a couple of those to a tanking team with a first-round pick and get yourself a real player that can make an impact. Like players you guys have mentioned before, like Alex Caruso, players like Cam Reddish, players like Bojan Bogdanovic. Maybe a couple of these contracts plus a first-round pick fetches you a Bojan Bogdanovic, right? He said Miles Bridges to LA soon. Now, his situation is a little complicated, not just because of the court issues, but is he or is he not a restricted free agent? Can somebody answer that to me? Because if he is, I think you have to do a sign and trade, unless they do what the Spurs did with Lonnie Walker and just release him, right, and just relinquish his rights. Now it becomes unrestricted, I think, right, if I'm not mistaken. He said Beverly is the reason I hate the Clippers as much as I do with all the trash he talked, but I appreciate what he did for the Lakers. I have no clue what you're talking about. What has he done for the Lakers, brother? Educate me, because I don't know what he's done for the Lakers yet, outside of clap, run, and his podcast. He's the only player I'm crazy about is Zach LaVine. Zach would be dope, but it seems out of the realm of possibility unless they do Russ and 2 first-round picks for Zach LaVine. Then you get your 3rd actual star, right? But, I mean, I'll be shocked if they trade Zach LaVine. Unless they're starting a full-out rebuild and they're going to become sellers, that could happen. Let's just say they stink it up, right? And they want to get some value in return for these players. They could trade Zach LaVine this summer or maybe even by the trade deadline and get maximum value in return before, he's continuing. But the only problem I have with Zach is he's injury-prone, man. That's the only problem I've had with him. He said Hornets have to make him unrestricted, right? That's what I thought too. So I'm not really gonna lose any sleep over him because We know that the Hornets are still keeping tabs on that. And unless they're interested in a player on a sign and trade, I don't think that happens. But you never know. I've seen crazier things happen in the NBA. For example, Lonnie Walker, who would have thought he would have become an unrestricted free agent? Remember how excited I was when we acquired him? Because even though we didn't need guards, I said this is the type of player that usually you would get value in return for him, right? You wouldn't, remove the restriction from his contract. So I've seen crazier things happen in this league. And if that happens, then I'm all for it. He said Lonzo for Beverly. Man, again, I love Lonzo. I love Lonzo, but dude could barely stand right now. And who knows how he will look when he comes back. If we're talking about his skill set, absolutely. He fits like a glove. But the injury-prone players just drive me crazy. I mean, we just went through it with none. The last thing you want to do is waste your 1 or 2 trades on injury-prone players, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. He said, we don't need another star. We need players that can help with shooting and defense. I completely agree. Absolutely. But I'm saying if there is a star to be had, then the Lakers might go for it. They might. Like, let's just say Kyrie Irving becomes available at some point during the trade deadline. You don't think the Lakers will go for it, especially when you have to pay a minimum, right? You pay a minimum for some. He might be worth only 1 first-round pick because he's about to expire and he's definitely not re-signing with the Nets. So, yeah, especially after all that fiasco that happened, they made him apologize and all of that. I doubt he's resigning. I doubt Kevin Durant will stay there much longer. So I think Kyrie Irving might be somebody to look at by the trade deadline. They might say, you know what? The first team that offers up a protected first-round pick takes him. At least we get some sort of value in return. He's going to walk in the offseason. We gave up so much to the cap space and everything to try to get him. So it'll be interesting. For sure it'll be interesting. He said they better sign Lonnie. Lonnie Walker is a keeper for sure, man. And he even said he wants to come back. But same thing. Listen, they always say that. But if the money's not right, they're not coming back. Got it. They're not coming back. He said those fake BBB sneakers killed Lonzo's knees. Facts, bro. That's horrible. But not just that. I don't know if you guys ever used to watch Ball in the Family. The way this man used to eat, he used to eat like a child. I'm talking no veggies. I'm talking, mac and cheese and pizza and all of that. When you're a professional athlete, you really have to take care of your health. Even we do, right? As regular individuals, we have to take care of our health, especially as we get older. But when you're a professional athlete, you really got to take care of your health. And I'm shocked. As good of a trainer as LeVar Ball was and father and all that good stuff, he didn't really teach his boys how to eat well, how to protect us, how to strengthen certain parts of their body so they can be durable. Or maybe he did teach them. They became adults and did their own thing. I don't know. But yeah, Lonzo Ball eating mac and cheese and French fries and he didn't like even lettuce and stuff. I was like, this guy eats like a kid. So that's when I was concerned. When the Lakers drafted him and I seen that, I was concerned. I think I mentioned it on live stream. That was one of my concerns. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Is he going to be able to take care of his body? And I don't want to blame it all on that because freak accidents do happen, right? His ankles have been bad. Basically, his career has been what everybody was afraid Curry's career was going to be like. That's why they didn't give him that first big contract, and they kind of ripped him off, right? So I kind of hope that he is able to turn the page and turn the corner just like Curry did and put those injuries behind him. But so far, it hasn't happened. And he was having a great year last year, too. And then he got injured, had season-ending surgery, and he's still not back. So, Dan, how about AD, though? That man been playing out of his mind. Yes, we talked about him earlier in this video, man. If you want to see the numbers, definitely rewind it. Definitely worth it, man. Definitely worth it. If we really think about it, the only real talent we gave up for AD is Ingram because Lonzo's injured more than AD. We also give up Josh Hart, although I don't like to give him credit because he's a in-and-out hater, and I hate in-and-out haters. He was really salty after he got traded. He said in-and-out was overrated. I wanted to come across the screen and just smack him when he said that. And he also said, at least there's no earthquakes in New Orleans. This dude was bragging about, and I'm not trying to make fun of him because I love New Orleans, but he was bragging about somewhere where there's always hurricanes, talking about at least we don't have earthquakes. I was like, come on, bro. So he really rubbed me the wrong way, but I'll give him props. I mean, all of that. So, but anyways, guys, it's gonna wrap it up for me. I don't know what's going on with the internet, man. People partying too hard next door. So I want to end it before it starts messing up. Thank you guys so much for tapping in, man. Always a blast. I had to drop this episode because I had a couple NBA things I wanted to talk about, and you guys definitely dropped the likes on Twitter, so I appreciate y'all. Make sure to hit the like button, man. I'll see you guys here tomorrow for pregame at around 2 p.m. Pacific time, more or less. All right, I'll see you guys then. Have a great rest of your night. Peace out, Laker Nation.